Hey guys, it's Steven here, and today I'm back with another video. This is a bit of a discussion video, thoughts, reactions video on the 2018 Golden Globe Awards. They aired last night on January 7th. Seth Meyers hosted the show. It went from like 8 to 11 or past 11, and I watched the whole show from start to finish, and now I'm going to give you my thoughts on the winners, on like what I'm surprised by, what I'm not surprised by, who I feel like did or did not deserve to win, like that stuff. So, as far as what I thought of the show in general, I thought it was pretty good for the most part. I don't think it's as good as some of the past Golden Globes, like, like I don't think it's better than last year's or like, or the year before that. But I think it was a decent Globes. It was, how people were having a good time. It was enjoyable for the most part. Seth Meyers hosted the Golden Globes this year, and as far as his hosting job goes, I thought he was okay. I don't think he's like the best host we've had with the Globes. I think that some of his jokes were kind of flat. Some of them were just forgettable. He did make a few funny jokes. Obviously, like, we all knew that, that the Globes are going to make like a million jokes about the whole sexual harassment thing and all the stories about, like Harvey Weinstein and Kevin Spacey. We all knew that was going to happen. And, like, Seth Meyers did have a few, like, funny jokes. Like, he made this one, like, pretty funny joke about, like, how in 20 years from now, like, Harvey Weinstein will be the one person who everybody boos in the Oscars in memoriam. I thought that was actually pretty funny. I mean, it was pretty risky to, to say something like that, but I thought it was pretty funny. He made a pretty funny joke with about Christopher Plummer, and with like Kevin Spacey and whatnot, with like having Christopher Plummer like be on House of Cards or something. That was pretty funny. I feel like just like Seth Meyers, he felt so like he was just reading like jokes off of a teleprompter. It's like it wasn't like, like it just didn't feel like fresh or like, or like really like interesting or anything. And like he just had like the same like facial expression throughout his whole monologue. I thought his monologue was pretty decent, but like not like the best like opening for the Globes. It's definitely not as good as last year's with Jimmy Kimmel. I thought that was pretty funny. And just, as far as Seth Meyers goes, as the host of the Globes, he kind of like, faded out as the show went on. And so overall, wasn't really a huge fan of Seth Meyers as the host. There's some good speeches from a lot of the people who won. Pretty much, like, I didn't disagree with anybody who won at the Globes last night. I can't really, like, say anything about, the TV people who won. The TV people all gave pretty good speeches. And as far as the TV awards, I'm just gonna, like, breeze through that like really quickly just to get it out of the way. For best drama series went to The Handmaid's Tale. I thought Game of Thrones was gonna win because everybody talked about like the latest season was so great and this is the year that it's finally gonna win the Globe. Well, it didn't. And it went to The Handmaid's Tale, which was surprising but not surprising at the same time. Sterling K. Brown for This Is Us won Best Actor in a TV Series Drama. That was no surprise. Elizabeth Moss, The Handmaid's Tale. That was no surprise. Best TV series comedy or musical went to uh, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which never heard of the show. It's on Amazon. Maybe I'll watch it at some point. And then Rachel Brosnahan won for actress in a TV series, musical, or comedy. I can't really say anything about those two categories. Best actor in a comedy series went to Aziz Ansari for Master of None. That was a pretty, like, not surprising category. All I could say is Big Little Lies pretty much swept everything it was, nominated for. It won 4 Golden Globes for Best Miniseries, for Best Actress in a Miniseries for Nicole Kidman, Best Supporting Actor in a TV Series for Alexander Skarsgård, and for Best Supporting Actress in a TV Series for Laura Dern. I'm so happy that Big Little Lies got all that love. I love that show. It's great. And I cannot wait for season 2. And everything it won, I feel like, was deserving. Even though I technically can't comment because I haven't seen most of the shows that are nominated in the same categories it's nominated in. So, yeah. So that's, I think that's it for TV. Yeah. That's it for the TV categories. Now, let's actually talk about the movie categories, which is what I'm here to talk about. I'm starting from, bottom to top, going, least to greatest. I'm saving best drama for last. So starting off with best original score, it went to Alexandre Desplat for The Shape of Water. I predicted that right. I thought maybe Hans Zimmer for Dunkirk would take it, but I picked The Shape of Water, and I think that it deserved it. It does have a great score, and Alexandre Desplat, I think he deserved it. He gave a pretty good speech, and yeah. Best original song, this one I really kind of tripped on. I thought that Mighty River from Mudbound was going to take it, but it went to This Is Me from The Greatest Showman. I was almost considering I wanted to pick The Greatest Showman. I was thinking about picking it in my predictions, but I just went with Mudbound. That was kind of a hard category to predict for me, and I thought Mighty River was going to win, but This Is Me ended up winning. And while I haven't seen The Greatest Showman, I've only seen 2 of these movies nominated in this category, but I have heard all the songs, and This Is Me is a really good song. So, I'm not too upset that it won. Best Screenplay, I did predict this right, and I'm really happy that it won 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Took Best Screenplay for Martin McDonagh. Terrific screenplay. It's a screenplay that just, it takes so many little, twists and turns that you don't see coming. And that's the main reason why that screenplay works so well. And part of me thought that Lady Bird was going to take it. A lot of people thought Lady Bird was going to take it, but I picked 3 Billboards, and I'm really happy it won. Best Director, I also predicted this right. Guillermo del Toro for The Shape of Water won. Part of me thought that Christopher Nolan for Dunkirk was going to take it, but I picked del Toro, and del Toro won, and I'm happy that he won. He gave a nice speech, and he did do a great job directing Shape of Water. I do want to review that movie soon, and I also want to review I want to review 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and then I'll give you my top 10 movies of the year. So, look forward to that. Best Supporting Actress, I was a little bit, iffy on this category. Part of me thought Laurie Metcalf in Lady Bird was going to take it, but I predicted Allison Janney for I, Tonya, and Allison Janney ended up winning. And I really kind of thought Laurie Metcalf was going to win. Quite a few people thought Laurie Metcalf was going to win, but I picked Allison Janney. And Sorry. But yeah, Allison Janney ended up winning. I really want to see I, Tonya. Hopefully it, will come to my theater or come to a theater close to me now that it's, been getting all this award buzz, because I do really want to see it. Moving on to Best Supporting Actor. This one I also really kind of tripped up on. I thought that it was between Willem Dafoe or Christopher Plummer, and I predicted Christopher Plummer for All the Money in the World, but it went to neither. It went to Sam Rockwell for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. And even though I didn't predict him to win, I wanted him to win, and I'm so freaking happy that he won. I thought he was absolutely terrific in that movie and was one of the bright spots of 3 Billboards. And he gave a nice speech. He was great in the movie, and I'm so happy he won. Moving on to Best Actress in a Motion Picture, Comedy or Musical. I think this was a pretty obvious winner as well, at least for me. Saoirse Ronan for Lady Bird took it. I've only seen Lady Bird of all those movies in the category, and I'm happy Saoirse Ronan won. I thought she was great. She gave a nice speech, and I think she'll get nominated for the Oscar for sure. And I think the next category is Best Actor in a Motion Picture, Comedy or Musical. This was another one that was not surprising. James Franco for Disaster Artist took it. So well deserved. He gave one of the best speeches of the night. It was so heartwarming when he went up there with Dave Franco, and he went up there with Tommy Wiseau, and it was a great moment. And he absolutely deserved it for the Disaster Artist. He was great in that movie. If you haven't seen it, I have not reviewed it. I don't think I'm going to review it, but all I could say is that it is fantastic. Moving on to Best Actress in a Motion Picture Drama. I think that, for me, this was a pretty obvious one. Frances McDormand for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri took it. Another extremely well-deserved win. Terrific performance. I thought maybe Sally Hawkins would take it for The Shape of Water, but I went with Frances McDormand, and she ended up winning, and I'm pretty happy that she won. She gave a really nice speech, and she was great in that movie. If you haven't seen 3 Billboards, definitely see it. And I think Frances McDormand is probably I think she's the front runner to win Best Actress at the Oscars this year, hands down. And I think that the same thing can be said for the man who won Best Actor in a Motion Picture Drama, and that is Gary Oldman for Darkest Hour. I think we all saw this coming from a mile away. And he ended up winning. I've only seen Darkest Hour of all those movies in that category, and so technically I was already rooting for Gary Oldman, and Gary Oldman ended up winning, and he definitely deserved it, even though that's the only movie in that category that I've seen, so I can't really say much about that category. He gave a really nice speech. He gave a terrific performance. And I'm pretty happy he won. For best, for foreign language film, this is kind of an unorganized list here. I'm looking on IMDb at the winners right now, and it's kind of unorganized, so it's not exactly least to greatest. For Best Foreign Language Film, In the Fade won. I thought that First They Killed My Father was going to win, but it didn't. Best Animated Feature, this was pretty cut and dry. Coco won. That was no surprise. Still, Lego Batman movie got snubbed. Screw you, Golden Globes. So, anyways, for Best Picture, Comedy or Musical, it went to Lady Bird. That wasn't that big of a surprise. I think that that is my favorite movie in that category. If you saw my review of Lady Bird, you would know that I thought the movie was fantastic, and it was one of my favorite movies of the year. So I'm happy it won. And then finally, for Best Picture Drama, this category, I was really like tossing myself back and forth between like 3 different movies, and I ended up picking The Shape of Water. But it did not go to The Shape of Water. It went to 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. As the night went on, after Sam Rockwell won, and then Screenplay won, I was like, yeah, 3 Billboards is going to take Best Picture Drama. I was rooting for The Shape of Water just because I wanted to be right in my predictions, but really I wanted 3 Billboards to win Best Picture, and it did, and I think that right now it's probably the front runner to win Best Picture at the Oscars as of at this moment in time. We still need to see other award shows, but right now I'm saying 3 Billboards. It was well deserved, a great movie. Once again, I really hope you guys see it. It's probably going to get a wider release now after it's been getting like all this, acclaim at the Globes. So please see it if you haven't. So oh yeah, I completely forgot to talk about how that Oprah Winfrey got the Cecil B. DeMille Award at the Globes last night, and it was her montage was nice, and her speech was really good. She got a lot of applause from everybody in the room, and she got a standing ovation, and I mean, what do you expect? I mean, it's Oprah. So guys, thank you for watching. That is my thoughts on the Golden Globes. Let me know what you thought about the winners down in the comment section below, and I'll be back with more videos, like 2 more reviews, and then my top 10 movies of the year. I know, even though it's really late at this point. So, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.